What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to have a look at some new One Piece cards from OP-09. And I'm going to tell you this right off the bat, I'm excited about these, and there's an event card about which I am particularly excited. Don't always start with event cards, but sometimes it is absolutely the right thing to do to start with event cards. So let's start off with an event card. I think I've said that enough times now. We've got Gum Gum Giant, and I like this one. What we've got here is an event card specifically designed for Luffy. It's a one-cost card for purple. And we got counter, Don -2, trash a card from your hand. If your leader is a Straw Hat crew, give up to one of your leader or characters 4,000 power for this battle, and draw 2 cards. Now, several things about this which I absolutely adore. Partly, I adore the fact that this is plus 4,000 for one cost. That's ridiculous. Secondly, you are drawing 2 cards on your opponent's turn. That means if they've got more attacks coming, you draw 2 cards, and you are then essentially ready to start going after them more. Those 2 cards could have counter as characters, or they could be event cards with counter or whatever. They could be cards. So you essentially, plus 4,000 this battle to win the battle. But then you get 2 extra cards that you could save them for your next turn. That would absolutely work. Or you could use them for the remainder of this turn to thwart your opponent's plans, and I love it, ladies and gentlemen. I absolutely love this one. This is awesome. Now, the downsides. Trashing a card from your hand, yes, that is obviously a downside. It is, to put it bluntly, less than ideal. But it's 1 card from your hand. We see this a lot, you'll be fine. The other downside is Don -2. Now, this fits very well into the new purple Luffy deck, but remember, the purple Luffy's got Don -2. Well, it's got a skill whereby when you Don -2 or more, you get 1 Don out active, 1 out rested, but it is on your turn, which is a bit of a pain. I.e., using this as a counter on your opponent's turn, this isn't going to work, that's a bit of a pain, but I still don't think it's the end of the world. Sure, Don -2 is a bit annoying here, but again, I've told you how good and impactful this card can be. And the reality is, you're playing purple. You're going to be playing stuff like Black Maria, for instance, to get this back. And that's going to be fine, honestly. I think you're going to be okay. Purple nowadays has so many tricks they can use to get these cards back. And, Black Maria puts out 5 Dawn on your turn, and then you put them back at the end of your turn, but only until you've got the same number as your opponent or fewer. Yeah, I think this is a ridiculous card that is going to see a redonkulous amount of play. The Don -2 in purple is not like it used to be. So what about some cards that aren't Luffy? How about a new Yellow Sabo? That new Revolutionary Army, for instance. We got 7 cost, 7,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play, you place up to 1 Revolutionary Army character from your hand to the top of your life face up. And then if you have 2 or more life, put the top or bottom card of your life into your hand. Yeah, this is pretty good. I quite like this. Now, here's the thing. If you've got 2 or more life, then it's not really recovery. You're putting a Revolutionary Army, on top of your life, and then you are getting a new card. But the thing is, by putting this on top of your life, you're essentially stacking your life. So you're putting a card down that's going to have a really good trigger, for instance, knowing that you're going to be able to take advantage of it the next time your opponent takes a life. That seems good to me. Think something like the Bartholomew Kuma, for instance. If your leader is multicolored, play this card, and then it's got an on-play KO one of your opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less. Put a character like that on top of your life, knowing that it's then going to be coming out as a counter, for instance. And then you get a new card, which sounds awesome. Although, to be clear, if you put a card from your hand on top of your life, you can then put the top or bottom card of your life into your hand. Well, if it's a top card, it's the same one you just put down. take the bottom one. But then, of course, if you've got 0 or 1 life, you're just recovering, and that sounds good to me. Plus, we got a trigger here. If your leader is a multicolour leader, draw 2 cards. And it's yellow, and we all know that yellow is going to trigger a lot more often. They have a lot more triggers that works. And honestly, you can use a Sabo to put a Sabo down on top of your life so that you can draw 2 cards the next time your opponent takes a life and gets rid of this. I like this. There is a lot to like about this Sabo. And sure, it's not proper recovery until you've only got 1 life remaining. Granted, I'm honestly all right with this because I get to stack the top card of my life and that seems like a win for me. Sometimes it will be proper recovery and that seems like a win for me, and getting card advantage or essentially swapping 1 card for another so I see more cards also seems like a bit of a win for me. It just seems like I'm winning a lot here, and that makes me very, very happy indeed. We do have a Rockstar here, which isn't a particularly good card, I'll be honest with you, but I just think the artwork's really nice, so I thought I'd show you. That's about it. It's a 4-cost, 6,000 power, counter plus 1,000. It is a red-head pirate. It's a very standard vanilla card. There's nothing about it which is particularly stunning and is saying, hey, you need to play this card immediately. But I'm showing you a bunch of new cards from OP-09. This is a new card from OP-09. It's got really lovely artwork that makes me very, very happy. So it seemed like it was appropriate to show it to you here. So I have. How about a card which stands more of a chance of actually being competitive, making its way to the table? Well, how about we have a little bit of a chat about Richie? Because I have been wanting to show you Richie for a little while. And the reason I've been wanting to show you Richie for a little while is because the other day I showed you Moji. And I told you that how good Moji ended up being was pretty much entirely reliant on how good Richie ended up being. But I told you I couldn't show you Richie, and I'm sorry, but I'll come back later. When we know what Richie is, I can come back and show you, and it will make a lot more sense. Well, the good news is, I'm back, and I can show you. You see, what Moji does here, we got a skill, 5 cost, 5,000 power, counter plus 2k. And on play, you look at the top 5 cards of your deck. You look for a Richie, and if you find a Richie, you put it into your hand. And then afterwards, you can play a Richie card from your hand. Which is awesome, right? The problem is, we've never had a Richie card before. Richie doesn't really exist in the One Piece TCG, so I couldn't even do that thing I usually do where I go, look, there's going to be a new Richie, obviously, but I don't know what it's going to do, but here's an old one, maybe. No! I don't know about Richie. Well, we've got our first ever Richie. It can be played for free by Moji. Is it worth it? The answer is, kind of. It's alright. It's decent enough. What we've got is a 2-cost character. So you're playing a 2-cost for free. 2,000 power, counter plus 1,000, blocker. That's what it does. You've got a 2,000 power blocker. Now, the reality is you're probably going to just lose the block, which is fine. You block once, you get KO'd. It's all right, come back later. You've at least gotten rid of a skill. But if we look at that as a totality now, with Moji and with this, things start looking a lot more interesting. Because now, you play your Moji, you have a 5,000 power body on the board, you play a Richie for free, but remember, and this is really important, you search for a Richie, and then separately, if you have a Richie in hand, you can play one, which means if you've already got a Richie in hand, what you can essentially do is find a new one and then play the one you already had, but you've got one in hand ready to go. So you're searching, and you're playing for free, and you're getting a decent body on the board as well, let's not forget. And you add that all up, and actually Moji starts looking very, very, very fun. And I'm a little bit sad that it took me so long to be able to tell you about Richie, but I have, so now it's over to you guys. I really like the Richie Moji combination. You have to have them in hand at the same time, but again, Moji helps you search for Richie. I really like the Sabo. I think it's really fun in Revolutionary Army decks. I think Gum Gum Giant is a great card in these purple decks nowadays. Well, it's got to be a Straw Hat Crew, yeah? Remember, it only works if your leader is Straw Hat Crew. Hence, it's designed for the new Luffy. And I don't think Rockstar's a particularly good or exciting card, but I love the artwork, so I thought I'd show you that one as well. But I've shown you them all now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of these cards in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.